Hey, everybody. It's your girl, Cassandra Lynn, aka your favorite paralegal. Welcome to Legal Doc Talk 24/7. I wanted to hop on today to kind of go over Chrisean Rock's Oklahoma case history to bring some type of understanding and clarification as to why she was locked up. If you have watched my previous video regarding her arrest, you would pretty much be caught up, but this is just to kind of go from the beginning to the end to kind of see how things played out and why things are happening the way that it is happening. I'm seeing a lot of commentary with some misinformation, and it is just, as a paralegal who does this every day, I just kind of have to sit back and let everybody else formulate their own opinion and kind of piece together the puzzles that they're trying to make. But the purpose of my channel is to go over legal documents that I normally draft as a paralegal to assist attorneys in criminal cases, family law cases, personal injury cases. So I did want to bring my expertise. I am not in no way a lawyer. I do not practice law. I am just a paralegal in the legal field that assist attorneys when it comes to these litigation matters. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive on into Chrisean Rock's Oklahoma case history. So for everybody who, we already know that back in, I'm not sure when that was, 2021, 2000, no, it had to be 2021, where Chrisean was caught in Oklahoma with Mary Jane in the car. I don't believe at that time Oklahoma was I don't believe that they legalized marijuana at that time. So being caught is a serious offense. Trust me, I know, not from my own experience, but for my family that actually live in Oklahoma. So, like I've said in previous lives, that, just because you get picked up this day, this year, does not mean that the state will bring charges. Well, I'll take that back. They'll file charges because, you're arrested and you're charged, but they won't file in the state until a couple of months later. They have to build evidence, so on and so forth. So with Chrisean Rock's particular case, this was filed, as you can see, the file date, February 18th, 2022. Get to my screen. Okay. So that's what we see here. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if I spoke about this yesterday or the day prior, but if we notice that as of right now, Chrisean does not have an attorney for her Oklahoma case. That attorney withdrew, and I'm going to show you guys the documents that were filed. He withdrew from her case. Normally, when an attorney withdraw from a case, it could be various amounts of reasons, but they have to first file a motion and the court has to actually approve it. So just because they file a motion, that does not mean anything. It has to go before the judge. The judge has to look at circumstances and he states whether or not he's going to grant that order. So this, I am assuming, used to be her attorney, but as you can see, it is blank there. She does not currently have an attorney. These are all the parties that are in the case: the defendant, which is Chrisean Malone, your district attorney, the arresting officer, and the agency that officer works for. Here, events, it just pretty much breaks down all the actions that has been taken in this case. So beginning in March 2nd, 2022 with the initial appearance, scrolling all the way down to the last transaction, which was on February 26th. But this really doesn't have anything to do with it. But this is what I am trying to get everybody to see. February 23rd, there was a bench warrant that was issued for failure to do community service. This bench warrant is still active. It has not gone anywhere. If you have tried to look up in a municipal court where you can look up, misdemeanor or the traffic infractions, which are known as your Class C misdemeanors, your bench warrant is not going to be in that same system. So I get people are looking up and say, hey, I don't see a warrant. Where is it? You're looking in the wrong place. A bench warrant is issued once a motion or something has been filed in the court. The judge has reviewed everything and he has signed off on an order. So this bench warrant was issued by the court to say, hey, this person failed to do this order. We need to get to that person and bring them in. Okay. So if you wanted to go look, you would have to actually go look in a different place than what you are normally going to look. So here, this is the Oklahoma Department of Corrections. As you can see, here's Chrisean, just the facility interstate probation out. What that means is, and you'll see in a minute, that she was on probation and she asked for Oklahoma to transfer her probation to California. They can do that because California and Oklahoma has an agreement. There are certain statutes that allow for how can I say this? Allows a defendant to if they live in another state, to transfer their probation, but you have to meet certain stipulations in order to be granted that. That's just like if your kid does not go to their home school, there are certain rules and stipulations that you have to abide by to ensure that your kid goes to that school and stays in that school. Otherwise, they have to go back to their home school. Same thing with this situation. So as you can see, Oklahoma Department of Corrections, this is the fugitive list. They had a warrant poster out for her and everything. And so here, right here, absconder, interstate compact probation, California. Once again, that just simply means that because Chrisean asked to be transferred to California, she had to abide by California rules, in which California was responsible for, and when I say responsible, Chrisean basically had to check in with them. And she had to make sure that she do everything and abide by everything, so that way she would not violate the compact that they have, but also violate the order. So that is the offender wanted poster that a lot of people don't realize is out there. So at June, and I said at June 27, 2003, that is when they declared her a fugitive. All right, so I want everybody to keep that in mind. Now, going back to Oklahoma, like I said, this bench warrant did not disappear. It has not gone anywhere. Why? Because if you see any other transactions, there's no motion to get rid of this bench warrant. There's no orders to get rid of this bench warrant. This is the last transaction on this court document, on this court docket. I read court dockets every single day. If an attorney files something, it's going to be added to the court docket. If opposing counsel added something, it's going to be added to the court docket. If a pro se client who's not represented by anybody files something, it's going to be added to the court docket. If the clerk's send out something, it's going to be added to the court docket. So this court docket has not been updated since February 26, 2024. Okay. Her Oklahoma charges were felonies. I repeat, her Oklahoma charges were felonies. So because Chrisean transferred to do her community service and check-in in California, that does not change the type of charge. So it is still a felony. So when Chrisean got locked up and she got booked, as you can see, fugitives. Okay, remember I showed you guys the warrant poster, the wanted poster. She's considered a fugitive. Okay, now going to her, what did it say? It was something that said felony. Everybody's like, well, why is it felony? What? There it is, charge level. The reason why it is felony is because this is regarding her Oklahoma violation. So she got picked up in Cali because she violated her order, and she has a bench warrant out for failing to do community service in California. Okay, so I want everybody to get that. So when they're inputting that information into her booking, it's saying that this is associated. So hit two things: fugitive, where to go? Fugitives. That's one. Charge level felony. Go here. Wanted. Go here. Felony. So I want everybody to stay with me. All right. So now we're going to get to the docket, because I want everybody to understand how we got to this point. I know we've been on social media. We've seen a lot of blogs, posting, commentating, giving their 2 cents. But I want it to make sense so you guys can understand this. First thing first was the case being actually filed. So this is the state filing this complaint against Chrisean Rock regarding the felony charges so they could start the litigation process. What does that entail? I'm going to help you guys see this. I didn't click on the wrong one. Let's click on this one. All right. So here is when the case first got submitted. So it's just like, okay, what are we filing a lawsuit for? So this is the information about her charges. Count 1 was the unlawful possession of controlled drug, marijuana, with intent to distribute. I hate to go on this here internet, on Instagram, and just people running with, oh, she had a controlled substance, blase, blase, blase. But did you even take the time to go look at the court documents to see that it was not anything other than Mary Jane? That's all it was. Now, because Oklahoma law is different, it's how the statutes are set up. So Mary Jane falls under that controlled drug, not controlled substance, but controlled drug. So count 1 said that she pretty much willingly, knowingly, unlawfully, wrongly committed the crimes of count 1, unlawful possession of controlled drug, marijuana, with intent to distribute. So we already know it's probably in a little baggie. All right. It was classified as Schedule 1 in the Uniform Controlled Dangerous Substance Act of Oklahoma, located in I-44, 144 WRTP eastbound toll gate. So that is where she was caught. So if anybody know Oklahoma, they got quite a few toll roads on I-44. And so that's where she was caught. Now, if she was speeding through there, that's probably how she got caught. um uh got pulled over. Count 2 was possession of CDS without tax stamp affixed, which is also a felony. So yeah, and when it says a tax stamp, I have to do some more research because I'm not sure if this is when Oklahoma was actually if Mary Jane was legalized, because if it was and she got caught with this, that's why she got charged. Otherwise, if she had a medical marijuana card, yeah, it's crazy because I know a few people got a medical card, and I'm like, ain't nothing wrong with you. Why you have a medical card? But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, so this could be the reason why she was charged with this, because she didn't have that medical card. And that's why. So this was filed, as you can see, February 18th, 2022. Okay, here is the citation that was given, and they have to file all that good stuff with the court. All right, everybody caught up with me so far? All right, so that's the 18th. So these are all the transactions. That's the courthouse closing for bad weathers on the 23rd, incarceration sheet, appearance bond. All right, so here, March 2nd, 2022. If you can read this, defendant was present with attorney Clint Ward. Her case was then reset to April 29th at 9 a.m. So I'm just going to click on it so we can kind of go over these documents. So that's the whole point. This is Legal Doc Talk, so you guys can get the information correctly. Yeah, so this is all that is pretty much what is showed on the docket. So it's just saying that Chrisean was present with her attorney, Clint Ward, and they reset the hearing to April 29th. All right, so go here to the docket. Here's Chrisean Malone, the judge presiding, Now hold up. It says not present. Okay, so I'm assuming Chrisean wasn't present, but the attorney was present. And it says bench warrant shall issue for failure to appear. So here, Chrisean was present with her attorney. The case was reset. Here comes 429. Chrisean was not present, but the attorney was present, and so they issued out a bench warrant. And I'll pull up that document so everybody can see. So yeah, when you fail to appear, that's what constitutes a bench warrant. All right. So that's all this is right here. It's just, so instead of me having to click on the documents, I can just read the docket. So here's the notes. So she had a bench warrant that was issued out on the 29th because she failed to appear. As you can see, here's the second transaction on the docket. All right. May 4th, defendant not present. Defendant detained in a different state. I'm pretty sure that's what it says anyway. Now, I cannot remember. I have to look and see when she was detained. All right. So 5-4 order and judgment of forfeiture filed and certified copy. All right. So the judge signed off on the order on May 4th. All right. So remember, bench warrant was issued. Now, an order was sent out on the 4th of May. So on 4/29, the above cause came for hearing according to regular assignment of the docket of this court. The court finds that the above named defendant having heretofore been charged with the crime of count 1, possession of CDS with the intent of distribute felony. Remember, it was Mary Jane. And then count 2, possession of CDS without affixing the tax stamp, and having been committed to bail in the amount of $50,000, was released on appearance bond executed by Mr. James Michael Hayburn, a licensed bondsman, and if applicable to his insurer, Brad Anderson. Said bond conditioned as provided by law for the appearance in said defendant before the court as required, and the court having ordered said defendant to appear on April 29, 2022, and said defendant being called 3 times in open court without sufficient excuse, failed to appear before the court as ordered. The court further finds that the said bondsman had due and legal notice as provided by law of the required appearance of said defendant. The court further finds that the conditions of said appearance bond have been broken by both defendant and said bondsman, and that an order in judgment of forfeiture shall be entered. So you guys already know that when you go to jail, you bail out, you get a bondsman, right? It's the bondsmen also have to have because they're the one who's putting up the money. So they have to stay on the defendant and say, hey, here's your court date. This is what you need to do. Blase, blase, blase. Okay. So pretty much that's not what happened here. And then the judge entered this order in judgment for forfeiture. It goes on to say that it is therefore ordered, adjudged, and decreed by the court that the appearance bond of said defendant be, and the same is hereby declared and is ordered forfeited to the state of Oklahoma, and the amount of said bond is ordered paid to the clerk of the court. It is further ordered and adjudged and decreed that the court clerk shall immediately mail a copy of this order and judgment of forfeiture to the bondsman, and if applicable to his insurer. The bondsman is hereby directed to deposit with the court clerk the face amount of said forfeited bond, $50,000. So because Chrisean did not show up in court, now the bondsman has to pay the court. That's why it's like collateral. That's why people go to the bondsman, you pay your 10%, and they on your behind saying, hey, you need to get the court. Because if you don't get the court, we got to be responsible for paying the court. All right, so that's what that order is. So Chrisean failed to appear on the 29th of April 2022. So on the 4th of May of 2022, the judge signed off on an order to forfeit, and the bonds company had to end up paying the clerk of court. So we're going down. So they had to mail it, certified mail return receipt, which means that they have to wait for the green card to come back, and which it did on the 20th. And then on the 27th, says bench warrant return, FTA filed, Sheriff Craig, and it says arrested. 5/31/2022, incarceration sheet. I can't talk. No, it's time to go to bed. Then on 5/31, here we have an appearance bond. So we're going to click on that and go through that. So 27 says she was arrested. Sorry for my computer going a tad bit slow tonight. That's all right. All right. So appearance bond. Here we have the state versus Chrisean Malone, known all by these presents that we, the above named defendant as principal and undersigned Stephen Fletcher, the U.S. Fire Insurance Company. So this is pretty much a bond in the sum of what, $100,000. And so here's our girl's signature right there. So this is another bond company. All right. So she was detained and she bonded out again. just with a different bond company. All right. So bench warrant. She was arrested on the 27th. 31st. Here we have the appearance bond. Here's her new bondsman's company. All right. So that was taken care of. Then 6-1. Defendant was present. So here, June 1st, 2022, she was present, and then the case was set for August 19th, 2022. Come around August 19th, it says defendant was present. Defendant was contacted by Mr. Attorney Ward, but the attorney was out of town, but still representing the case. Therefore, they reset it to October 7th, 2022. So here's October 7th. Defendant was present with her attorney. Defendant sworn and advised the rights, waived the preliminary hearing, and the state did as well. Waives 2 judge rule. And Stainer, defendant, please. All right, so let's look at this. I'm going to click on this. Let's see. Looks like a lot of information to unpack on this one. Oh, not really. So this is just a summary. Just trying to unpack it. So they were present. So she was sworn and advised of her rights. She waived preliminary hearing. The state also waived the preliminary hearing. And that says defendant waives to judge rule. DCA Instanter defendant enters plea. So she entered a plea of not guilty. That's all it is. So she waived her rights. She waived her well, let me take that back. She did not waive her rights. She acknowledged her rights. She waived the preliminary hearing, and she pleaded not guilty. The case was then set for December 12th, 2022. So 7th, and then a week later, here we have a motion to withdraw and an order granting the motion to withdraw. So remember, who was that? Mr. Ward. That was her. Yeah, Clint Ward was her attorney. So here we have Mr. Clinton M. Ward. He filed his motion, alleges that the following. So here is the reason why her counsel withdrew from her case. That the defendant has breached her financial contract with the counsel. And usually when you file a motion to withdraw, you have to let the court know if there's any if there's any hearings that is set, any trials that's coming up. So that way, not only will the court be on alert, but the defendant and the new attorney will be on alert if she does get a new attorney. So it was, if we remember back in the previous docket, they said that they was going to reset the hearing to December 19, 2022. So pretty much he withdrew because Rock did not pay her. She didn't pay him. And y'all, I see this. I was like, girl, Rock, girl, that's my girl. But she ain't no different than the criminal clients that I have to chase down all the time. Like, hey, it's 2 weeks. We haven't got payment yet. If we don't got payment, we got to file this motion to withdraw. So it's crazy. So it's not uncommon. But, and I don't want to say attorneys don't work, because it is us paralegals that do all the work, but I get it. That's how they keep their firm running. So she breached a financial contract. Therefore, he filed the motion and the judge did grant that motion. Now, coming to the hearing. So the defendant fails to appear. Bench warrant again. So she doesn't have an attorney. She didn't come back to court on December 19th. So guess what they did? They sent out another bench warrant and like, I need y'all to come get her because she did not appear to court. All right, now on the 13th. So January 13th, 2003, we have an entry of appearance. Let me see who that is. All righty. So our girl, January 13th, 2023, she gets new counsel. Bennett and Gallen PLLC entered an appearance as attorneys of record for her. What? Okay. All right. Let's see. So they ended up filing a motion for discovery and inspection, which is good because, you know, you got to collect all the evidence. You got to review it, all that good stuff to see. I'm not going to tell y'all the secrets, but normally you got to review of the evidence to see if there's any loopholes that you can kind of go in. And I'm not going to read all of this because it does have some case law. And usually what happens is that they will enter in other cases similar to this particular case to kind of prove their point. That makes sense. And that's all it is. It's just the defendant's motion for discovery and inspection and brief in support. So pretty much what they're doing is they're requesting any evidence that the state has so that way they can review it, because that's out of respect. You know, you can't go to court and not know what evidence the other counsel has. Everybody needs to be on the same page. And so that's all that the firm did, was they were requesting any and everything that the state had against the defendant. So moving on along, let's see. So reinstate bond, 215. All right, so 215, defendant was not present. So motion to reinstate bond was denied. Warrant and bond forfeiture will remain in place. So, okay. All right. So here's the motion to reinstate bond that was filed on the 13th of January, 2023. There was an order setting hearing on motion. So let me see what this is. It's a little bit confusing because I don't know if it's an order granting. No. Okay. So this is just, it's kind of like a notice of hearing saying, hey, the motion to reinstate bond that was filed is going to be heard before the judge at a certain time. So that's all that was. So they filed that on the 17th. And I believe here, because she was not present, dude said, nope, we are going to deny this bond, and the bench warrant is still going to be in place. Now, March 3rd, 2023, Chrisean was present with her counsel of record, Mr. Ken Gallen, by phone. He requested for the case to be set for a plea hearing on the 15th of March 2023. And this brings us to where we are at now. Okay, well, let me take that back. This brings us to what Chrisean initially had to do in order to be done with this. I'm like, girl, it was not that hard. I was like, oh man, I wish I was in Cali and just, you know, it's very unfortunate. It really is. She is young. She does have a child, and I just think that she really needs, I don't even want to say guidance, because we learn from our life lessons, but it's just something like, hey, when it comes to stuff like this, court stuff, you got to deal with. And if you can't deal with it, you got to find a way, or people who can deal with it, because this can mess up your whole entire life. I know because I sit here and I do this on a daily basis. And I'm just like, man, as you get older, you be like, man, I wish I would have done this. Yeah. So I'm still praying for my girl. So we're going to the plea hearing that was on March 15th, 2023. It says that Chrisean Rock was present with her attorney. She sworn and advised of her rights. She had to let them know that she was a Native American or enrolled in any federally recognized tribes. Defendant EPG to both counts. So I think she ended up pleading guilty to both counts. Remember, you have count 1 and count 2. So for count 1, listen, 4 years deferred. So they deferred it for 4 years. So if you know what a deferment is, just like you went to school, you got student loans, you got out, you can't pay for them. So they deferred it, meaning that you don't have to pay for it until, a certain amount in time. That's in this case. So for the possession of the Mary Jane with the intent to sell, she got 4 years deferred, a $300,000 fine, $50 to, and these are like little states. I don't know exactly what they are, but they always find like little fines to have you pay for something. And then obviously court costs. Count 2, same thing, 4 years deferred, $500 fine, $50 VCA and court costs. Here's the big one, 120 hours community service in lieu of 30 days in CCJ to be performed at a homeless shelter within 6 months. The bond forfeiture set aside. So that means they did not forfeit the bond. It was exonerated. The bench warrant was lifted. She was ordered to community service, or the community, officer. And the DA, she had to go to the DA's office to set up a payment plan to pay those court costs. So y'all see this right here. So instead of her doing 30 days in jail, she had to perform 120 hours of community service at a homeless shelter within 6 months. That was it. Here is a breakdown of all her costs. All her costs. Here, warrant recall, notice filed, copy taken. So everything that she was supposed to do, payment plan, rules and conditions of her supervised probation. She pled guilty. She attested for the state jurisdiction. So all of this was entered. Now, if y'all want to look at this, I'm going to go to the deferment. So you guys can kind of see. Well, I mean, it was clear as day as to what she had to do. So here it was telling her what her charges were. Here is the term of her deferment. So until the 15th day of March 2027 for count 1, same with count 2. Here were the special rules and conditions that she had to follow. DLC supervision. Complete 120 hours community service in lieu of 30 days in jail. Community service must be performed at a homeless shelter. And defendant to pay $991 to the district attorney's office. Furthermore, these were the fees that she had to pay. Count 1, $3,000. Count 2, $500. Then you have court costs, VCA, and restitution. So this was the order that she had to follow. All she had to do was 120 hours within 6 months. Pay her court fees. and just ride that shit out until March 15, 2027. Now, and we're going to get into this. So, May 8th, day before my birthday, bench warrant was issued. All right. Now, the longer that the bench warrant sits out, the more fees is going to be attached to that. And so that's why you see warrant collections fee. Then, because remember when it was all in a hoopla, and then Chrisean got on live and she was like, yes, she ended up, taking care of, the court fine or fees. This is what she was talking about. So I was like, okay, Chrisean, that's good. That's good. And I wasn't even thinking about the community service, honestly, because I really didn't go and check to see in depth what all she had to do. So I'm thinking that it was over and done until I started getting on here and actually reading her order that the judge signed. So the 12th, she paid her court fees in full. The warrant was taken back in July. Bench warrant lifted. All was well, right? Because mind you, it's good she paid the court costs, but we have to remember on this date, they gave her 6 months to complete that 120-hour community service. So yes, it is good that she paid her court costs in full, but mind you, if it's 6 months, she has 2 more months from this date in order to ensure that her community service was completed. So as you can see, there was nothing else filed. Okay, nothing else filed. Now, I do want everybody's probably thinking like, well, that's their fault. Why didn't they file? And I get it. But around, I want to say, so this is in the July, August, September, usually between August and December, judges go on vacation. So they try to clear their docket. So they might have too much on their docket to where, they can't fit nothing else in until January or February. Attorneys go on vacation. So that's why we see this gap in entries on the court docket. February 23rd. So mind you, I'm sure September came around. That was when she had to complete her community service, her 120-hour community service. So come February 23rd of this year, they had to file an application to accelerate the deferred sentence because she failed. Yes, she paid the fines, but she failed to do the community service. Okay. Also take into account of what happened in Cali with James Wright. Now, I'm not sure if they caught wind of this just yet, but I don't think that they have, but we'll go through this so you guys can see. So here, it just briefly summarizes what her charges were, what her sentences were. And now, if we look, it said the said defendant is in violation of the terms and conditions of the probation set by the court to writ. See attached doc violation report. So this was dated June 27th, 2023. So I'm going to go here. So June 7th, let's see. So it's in between this time here. So July, she paid her court costs in full. Remember, we thought that was a good thing. But when we look at this, stuff has been happening behind the scenes. So on June 27th, before she paid her court costs in full, they submitted a violation report. Here, once again, it just summarizes her information, her charges, her deferred sentence, and the date that it was supposed to end. So, how can I say this? Her community service was to be completed by September 14, 2024. So, like I said previously, if she would have taken care of her fines and did her 120 hours, it would have been smooth sailing all the way to her discharge date, which yes, it is a long time. And we're just in 2024. You got 4 years. I get it. I get a boo. But yeah. So the officer submitted this, and they stated that when Chrisean when the judge ordered her to do the deferred sentence and the community service and the fines, she requested an interstate supervision transfer, meaning that because she is in California, that she wants to report to to California, so she doesn't have to go back and forth to Oklahoma, which makes sense. A lot of people do that. So it just kind of tells you what the actions that has taken. So anytime you have transferred to another supervision agency, they're the receiving agency, so they are responsible for making sure, locating you, contacting you, making sure that making sure that you are doing what you are supposed to do. The main thing here is her checking in and doing her community service. So these are the offenses that she failed to do, and they reported. So the reporting officer had two attachments, attachment A and B. Attachment A was the violation report that was dated June 9th, and it was submitted by the supervising officer from the state of California. Attachment B shows how many times they tried to locate her. Now, I covered this, I think, briefly on Banga's channel. I know it's a lot of lives before, so hopefully this is just a refresher for the now members and to anybody new that's following up on this. So here are the violations of rules and conditions. Rule number 1, she was supposed to report in person and directed by the probation officer. So here it says, please refer to attachment A and B regarding Malone's failure to report as directed and locator attempts conducted in the state of California. Malone never reported for orientation. That's the first and foremost thing that you got to do. On April 13, 2023, a violent search was conducted and no information was found in California, Nevada, or Oklahoma. Malone's whereabouts are unknown. It appears she's evading supervision. Is considered to be an absconder of supervision. So that means that you are ducking and dodging. You ducking and dodging supervision. Second rule that she had to follow: I will not leave the state of Oklahoma without written permission of the judge, nor will I change my address without notifying my probation officer. I will allow my officer to visit me at my home or elsewhere. Please refer to attachment A and B regarding attempts to contact Malone at her last known address and without success. Declaration has been received that Malone is no longer at her last known address, and she has failed to notify a change of address. She has also failed to allow her officer to visit her at her home or elsewhere. Now, I'm on the borderline with this. Yes, it is the responsibility for the defendant to make sure that they update their address if they moved. But I don't care if I'm doing criminal law, family law, personal injury. I have clients that move all the time, and they won't tell me, especially personal injury, they won't tell me that they moved until I say, hey, I got a payment that I'm mailing out to you. Oh, I moved. You can't send it there. So I get it. I really get it. All right. But on the flip side, we know that, how is it that we know where Chrisean was and they didn't know? I'm like, did you guys really do your due diligence? I mean, girl, I didn't want them to pick her up either. But still, whoever this officer was that was supervising her, I just want to tell you, y'all suck. And I need y'all job. Not really, because I enjoy working for myself, but do better. Do better. The rule number 3 that she agreed to, I will maintain lawful gainful employment and provide written employment verification to my officer. As requested, I will support myself for independence without public assistance so long as I am physically able to do so. I will notify my officer when I change employment and allow my officer to visit me at my employment or elsewhere. According to attachment A, Malone is reportedly self-employed. However, employment verification has not been received to date, so her employment status is unknown. Rule number 8. I understand I am to remain under supervision by the probation and parole office until I serve my maximum term, unless I am placed under unsupervised status by the court or Department of Corrections. Malone has not been released from supervision. However, she has stopped reporting. Special condition C. Perform 120 community service hours to be completed per the attached schedule. Must be performed at a homeless shelter. There is no indication that Malone has started or completed this court order requirement. Summary. Chrisean Malone's whereabouts are unknown. Attempts to locate her been conducted without success. It appears Malone has absconded supervision. Due to her unknown whereabouts, her residence, employment status, and status on court order requirements are unknown. Because of her failure to report, intermediate sanctions are not appropriate at this time. An updated level of service inventory revised LSI-R has not been conducted due to her supervision transfer status. Based upon information compiled in this report, an application to accelerate filing and warrant is being requested. It is respectfully requested that she remain in Oklahoma until completion of any form of probation and or revoked for a time deemed appropriate by the court. Chrisean Malone is obligated to return to Oklahoma to address her noncompliance per the ICAOS federal requirements. Therefore, it is further requested that Malone be ordered to pay restitution in the amount of transportation costs to be returned to Oklahoma to the appropriate transporting agency. I want to repeat this, and I want you to report to anybody that has questions. Well, I don't think Oklahoma is going to pay to expedite her back to. Pay attention. Chrisean Malone is obligated to return to Oklahoma to address her non-compliance per the ICAOS federal requirements. Therefore, it is further requested that Malone be ordered to pay restitution in the amount of transportation costs to be returned to Oklahoma to the appropriate transporting agency. Please note, Malone is not allowed to leave the state of Oklahoma without Interstate Commission of Adult Supervision approval. as her current case has been closed. If she is to remain on any portion of supervision with a request to leave the state of Oklahoma, she would need to return to the local Oklahoma Department of Corrections, Probation, and Parole Office for supervision and approval. So there is no doubt that Oklahoma will not pick her up. As I stated before, I am on the fence because if they really wanted her, they could have found her. But I have to say, to be honest, these ain't our people. Okay? I repeat, these aren't our people. They ain't checking for Chrisean or any of our people. It's not like they're stalking her social media. Yes, Chrisean is big to us, but she's probably nobody to other folks. I just want to put that in y'all heads. Okay? All right. Here is the Interstate Commission Adult Offender Supervision. This has to be approved in order for Chrisean to report in California. Okay? Now, I'm assuming it was approved, but because she violated, now they have to submit a violation report. So now that she has not reported to California, Oklahoma said, okay, y'all not doing y'all job, so you got to go ahead and give it back. So here, I didn't want to show that because it does have her information on that right quick. So this is the report, the original report. That means she is pretty much, I don't want to say evading arrest because that's not she's dodging. She's dodging being picked up. She is trying not to be found. They said that this is mandatory. So that means that they are going to pretty much, this is just a violation. So there's nothing that they can really do about that. It needs to go back to Oklahoma. Warrants requested. So this is California saying that a warrant needs to be requested so y'all can come get Chrisean. So the violation discovery date was found on May 31st. They tried to contact her last known address, June 8th. The last contact that they had with her was March 23rd. All right. And so pretty much this is everything that I just covered. It's just a summary. So what are the details? Why is she ducking and dodging? Well, she failed to do orientation. They mailed, a letter to the house. And it says that the letter was returned. Ooh, okay. Let me see if I can blow this up so you guys can see. So it says defendant failed to report to the office for orientation. A letter dated April 25th, 2023 was mailed to the above noted address instructing the defendant to report to the supervision intake team located at East San Fernando area office. On May 2nd, 2023, the letter was returned to the sender as vacant and unable to forward. So based off of that information, they didn't have a current address for her. So in their defense, there's not really anything they can do unless they were stalking her. All right. On May 11th, the case was reassigned. He made following attempts to contact Chrisean. On the 18th, call was attempted. Mailbox was full. We all know Chrisean don't even like talking on the phone, so she probably got a gazillion voicemails on there. A text was sent requesting that she contact them. Same day, they mailed a letter out and told her to report to the office on May 25th. She failed to report. The letter was returned saying that it was undeliverable and unable to forward. The 25th, an email was sent out to her. Let's see. She didn't respond to the email. They just made notes that she's self-employed and she lived alone at this time. That's how we know that they don't be checking for us. Because we know who she lived with, right? On June 8th, Los Angeles Sheriff's Department team contacted to do a residence check on the defendant at her address to no avail without success. The probationer's whereabouts are unknown at this time, and it says the attached documents. So here, they could not take her because they can't find her. And it says reason for unavailability, whereabouts unknown. So they don't have any information only because she wasn't there. She wasn't there. This is a supplemental report. So the previous report, that was June. Now we're going into November. So November, same thing. And it's just going over the violations. So and that's what it is. So the supplemental report is just, or the violations report is telling them the rules that she violated. So another violation report. So this is a supplemental report to the June report, and it stated again that she failed to let's see. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one. All right. So this is a supplemental report. So I want you guys to look at the date. This is November 21st, 2023. Okay. The incident with what's his name? James Wright happened November 10th, 2023. So after that incident happened, she then again violated her Oklahoma order. And so that's why the supplemental report was made, because now she is in violation of rule number 9, which clearly states, I will refrain from violation of any city, state, and federal laws, including tribal jurisdiction. I will advise my officer within 48 hours if I am questioned or arrested by any branch of the government or any of its representatives. Please refer to attachment A and B regarding the violation. As explained by the Assistant State Attorney Stacey Ann Llewellyn of the Chief District Court of Prince George County State's Attorney's Office, in this particular case, a citizen went to the district court commissioner and swore to charges against Chrisean Malone. The commissioner, hold up. This is Maryland. Oh, this sucks. Oh. Yeah, and I'm reading this. I mean, I've read this plenty of times, but now it's clicking in my head, because then I remember on Baddies when the incident between her and Vicky. Okay, so it's not our boy. Oh man. Okay, so yeah, let's get into this. Now I'm up. So the incident between her and Vicky, this caused her to violate another rule of that order. Wow. Let's see. And then it goes on to say so Victoria, she alleged that Malone attacked her on August 13th, 2023 in Fort Washington, Maryland. She alleged that she was sucker punched and threatened by Malone who was 8 months pregnant at the time of this attack. Child. Now, did we see Chrisean hit that girl? No, we did not. Subsequently, charges were filed on Prince George County, Maryland's case D-05. Okay, that's that. We just know it was assault in the second degree, and she had an outstanding award for that. Wow. So the attack happened on the 13th. All right. With that being said, November 21st, they just realized, so that now because of this incident, let's see. Yeah, because of this incident, this is what happened. So on the 16th, I believe that they received the email stating that she had a court case. So so they didn't even know about the James Wright situation. This is still on the Whoa Vicky stuff. Man, this is crazy. Oh man. Okay. And I'm sitting here because I haven't read this in its entirety, so I'm I'm like, y'all, I skim read it, but not just like really read it to process this. So I am right here with you guys. So let's break this. This is the summary of the supplemental report. From July 23rd to September 2023, through her reported attorneys, Malone sought to regain supervision and compliance. It should be noted that it's highly possible that an individual by the name of Al Rava initially misidentified himself as her attorney, wanting to help Malone. Throughout this time, attempts to help Malone regain compliance in the state of California was conducted with directives to report. Because Malone was significantly pregnant, Malone and her attorneys were highly concerned about traveling or being taken into custody. However, a warrant withdrawal could not be approved without approval from the state of California, who was initially interested in withdrawing their interest once documents relating to her hardships was received. However, she failed to provide the requested documentation, and she remained a fugitive. Yet during this time, Malone was charged with a new violent offense in the state of Maryland, which was reportedly committed when she was in the midst of her pregnancy. Assault charges have been filed and warrant remains outstanding for Malone at this time. In addition to this charge, there have been several calls and emails indicating that Malone committed another assault in November 2023 in Los Angeles, California. An attempt to retrieve a police report and some type of documentation of the assault has been requested but cannot be located per the California Interstate Compact Unit. I am going to pause right there because I am baffled that people are calling and emailing without any tangible physical evidence that Chrisean did anything. That is wild. That is wild. I could see if you have her on camera, allegedly assaulting somebody. But to sit there and call and email, that's mind-boggling. Malone's whereabouts still remain unknown. She has not reported her whereabouts to the state of California or the state of Oklahoma. Reporting supervision remains her responsibility, not her attorney's, nor any supervision authority. She does not appear to understand the significance of the following court orders. No actions appears to be taken on to date on the June 2023 violation report. Based upon the information compiled, it appears that Malone's behavior is escalating, concerning and poses a risk to the community. It is still requested that an application to accelerate filing and warrant be issued and Malone answer for her actions. It is respectfully requested that she remain in Oklahoma until completion of any form of probation and or revoked for a time deemed appropriate to the court. So what they're asking, what California is, not California. What Oklahoma is asking is that Chrisean report back to Oklahoma and do what she needs to do. Period. That's all they're doing. But it does not help that people are calling and emailing, and I can only imagine what is it that you guys are telling or emailing. I just really want to know that. That's wild. Chrisean Malone is obligated to return to Oklahoma to address her non-compliances per the ICAOS federal requirements. Therefore, it is further requested that Malone be ordered to pay restitution in the amount of transportation costs to be returned to Oklahoma to the appropriate transporting agency, meaning that she can be extradited back, but it's going to be on her dime. So whatever that fee is, they're going to add it to whatever fee she got to do in addition to those court fees. And that's it. So that happened. They put in an order. They filed the application. They filed the order for the judge to sign. Put out a warrant. Here's the order. The judge looked at it and he said, you know what? You guys are right. I'm going to go ahead and sign off on this. Order for commitment 30 days. All these boxes are X'd out. Now, on February 23rd, 2024, the above entitled matter comes on for the hearing as to defendants' failure to complete 120 hours community service by September 14, 2023, as ordered on March 15, 2023. Violation of community service rules as follows. Failure to comply. She has a remaining balance of 120 hours. The court, upon hearing the merits and reviews of the files, finds that the defendant failed, neglected, and refused to complete community service according to the rules as ordered. It is therefore ordered that the defendant be committed to the custody of the sheriff of Craig County, Oklahoma, to be jailed for 30 days of flat time. Y'all know what flat time is? This is not every other weekend. This is not 2 days here, next month, 2 days there. No. 30 days. Period. There's no other way around this. 30 days. She had the opportunity to do the 120 hours. She failed to do that. All right? 120 hours over the course of 6 months instead of going to jail for 30 days. But since you did not do your 120 hours within the 6 months, now you got to do your 30 days. 5 days later, they amended the application. Because remember, they were trying to get the report from Cali regarding the James Wright situation. So this is still the same stuff, but what they added was this: the Los Angeles Police Department investigation for battery. And I am actually going to put a stop right there because this is going to be part of my next little podcast show going over the police report that James Wright put out versus the complaint that he filed in the Los Angeles court. So to sum everything up, this was the last thing that was filed, the amended application, just showing the added police report for Los Angeles for the James Wright incident. So the order still stands for her to do 30 days in jail. There's no motion to vacate that. There is no motion to modify that. It is what it is. So, based off of everything that I have covered tonight, to sum everything up, Chrisean was picked up because she has a bench warrant out for the felony charges in Oklahoma that was a deferred sentence, but she failed to complete her community service of 120 hours. So when you look on Los Angeles and you see the fugitive words and you see felony, that is associated with Oklahoma. California has done everything that they have done. We've covered in the documents, and you see that they threw their hands up and was like, hey, Oklahoma, you have to take over now, take back this case. California wasn't doing anything. Like, don't get me wrong, Chrisean Rock is my girl. Rock is my girl. I listen to her music. I jam out. She's awesome. She's cool to me. But I just wanted her to handle business. But at the end of the day, she's no different than the criminal defendants that I personally work with. I tell them the same thing. You have to stand on business, especially when you have kids. So I hope that this cleared up everything that has been said. If you can like, comment, subscribe, and share, I would greatly appreciate this. I will try to be back on later on this week to go over James Wright's police report and compare that with the petition or the complaint that he filed against Chrisean in civil court. And we'll go from there. I hope you guys have a blessed night, and I'll see y'all later.